Okay, Steve, I'd like to, I confess, I've done, like I said, I've done my research on spread betting, but even now when you're talking about buy and sell, I'm trying to think, oh, is that which ways which? Can you give us an idiot's guide in inverted commas on
Okay.
how you spread bet? Tell somebody that doesn't know, like me, just go through the bare bones of it. How does it work? And treat us as people that do not know.
Right, let's take a very simple spread bet, which is a football one, because that's a really easy one to do. Let's go back to our, say, Tottenham Crystal Palace bet. The spread firms will give you a quote on the goal supremacy, how much, in this case, Tottenham, because they're favourites, are going to win by. And they'll give you a quote of, for example, 0-1. Two numbers, 0 and 1. 0 is the selling price. So if you think that Tottenham are going to not do so well against Palace, that's the number you look at. We'll come back to that one. The other number, 1, is the buying price. So that's where you would buy Tottenham to beat Palace. So let's say you think Tottenham are going to beat Palace and you buy at 1. What does that mean? Well, it works on the number of goals Tottenham beat Crystal Palace by. So say Tottenham beat Crystal Palace 3-0. Happy days, you're on the right side. You get paid out 3 less 1, because you bought it at 1. So you get twice your stake back. 3 minus 1, twice your stake. If they won 5-0, you get 5 minus 1, 4 times your stake back. This is what I said about being paid out. The more right you are, the better it is. And it's the goal difference you're betting on. What happens if Tottenham won 1-0? Well, you bought it at 1, they won at 1. So 1 minus 1 is nothing. Nothing happens. You don't lose anything. You don't win anything. Let's say that Tottenham make a mess of it and they lose 2-0. Now their the goal difference is now effectively -2. Take the 1 off that again. So you're down to -3. You pay out 3 times your stake. So if you bought, so let's go back again. If you bought the goals at £10, if they won 3-0, you'd win 20 quid. If they lose 2-0, you lose 30 quid. And it's this potentially not quite unlimited, but can be very large downside that is one of the things that people fall over with when they're spread betting. You need to think about that when you put the bet on. What is realistically, if it goes badly wrong, how badly wrong is that going to be? And that's what
do you have to sit there and just watch your money drain away, or is there an escape route?
Oh yeah, you've got an escape route. And I mean, for example, let's say that at the start of the game, Spurs have a man sent off in the first 20 minutes. It's still 0-0, but now you think, oh, hang on a minute, I'm not quite so confident about this now. Unfortunately, the spread firms may be the same. So now, if you want to, they will have moved the quote back down. So now, if you want to buy Tottenham, you can buy them at a much lower figure now, because Tottenham are less likely to win. So they've only got 10 men. They're less likely to get a goal supremacy. But you can trade out. So effectively, you can buy Palace to do well. You'll probably make a slight loss on that. But on the other hand, it might go the other way. You might look at the game and Tottenham are 2-0 up in the first 20 minutes. The quote will then have raced up. So now Spurs will be at something like 3.5 or 4 that you could, if you want to buy them at, because they think they're going to get a lot more goals. You might think, actually, I've got my money now. I'll trade back out on that. And you could trade out at that position and just lock in your profit. So it didn't matter to you whatever happened to the rest of the game.
What's the difference between doing that and trading on the exchanges then?
I think the difference between that and trading out the exchanges, when you trade on the exchanges, you're trading out to a fixed return. you know what your return, you know what you're going to win exactly. You've got the bet put on, you know exactly what you're going to win. With a spread bet, you do not know exactly what you're going to win. You do not know exactly what you're going to lose. So you have to have an estimate of what it was going to be. Looking at that from a horse racing point of view, taking winning distances, for example. Let's say the first 2 races at a meeting have gone, I've sold them, for example, and it's all gone wrong. The first 2 races have been won by distances, so they pay out 30 lengths. All of a sudden, I'm in trouble at that because I've sold, and already I'm at 60. It's already at 60. I might have sold it at 50. So already I'm 10 points down the tubes, and I've got 4 more races to go. So then, do you trade out? Yeah, you can do. So you cut your losses and say, right, the whole meeting's going badly wrong. I'm going to get out of this. And effectively, you just close your position. You buy winning distances, and you take the hit that you've already got. Sometimes, however, if you just sit tight, you actually end up in a better position. Because don't forget, the spread firms will have guessed what they think the final price is going to be. It just might be that by trading out, you end up in a worse position than you did. I don't trade out a lot. I'm not a fan of it, but that's because I'm not very good at it. That's not a skill set I happen to have in running trading and things like that. I'm not good at setting it up beforehand and running with it. I can do that.
Okay, so I'm assuming that as the spread firms have got their built-in profit margin there, they don't mind arbors, that sort of thing.
Spread betting firms and arbors is a bit of a mixed bag. The ones they particularly hate, and I have done this, and I know because they have told me, when the spread betting firms put the prices up in the morning, sometimes they don't look at each other's prices. So, for example, going back to SPs at Leicester, you might have a situation where one firm has decided that it's going to be quite low, and they've offered them at sell at 27, buy at 30. The other company have decided, actually, no, that's not quite right. We're going to sell at 32 and buy at 35. Well, that means you can buy with one company at 30 and sell with the other at 32. And if you do that, you are guaranteed 2 points profit, whichever happens. Believe me, they do not like you doing that. They are not a fan of it, because the individual firm gets a big lumpy hit. Because I know what I'm going to make. I could put £100, I could put £1,000 on. I wouldn't be allowed to, but you see what I mean. They don't like that. But arbing and trading within a day, yeah, that's fine. They're happy with that.
Okay, so you've talked about the markets that you do like to play in and that you've won all this money on. Are there any that you would avoid like the plague?
Yes, anything that involves multiplication. Right. So let's take a very simple one you can do, or not simple one you can do is multi-mules, which is the winning race cloth number of the winner multiplied by the race cloth number of the second. And you multiply them together, and that's the score for that race. And then for the whole meeting, you add them together. So if horse 20 beats horse 19, it makes up the 380 for a given race. If horse 1 beats horse 2, it makes up to 2. You can see there is a huge spread of things that can happen there. And those big spreading bets are where you can go really badly wrong. My worst ever bet, and this is probably why, and I'll tell you this one, I did a spread bet on the Grand National, a multiple bet, which was the winning distance multiplied by the winning SP. And I sold, and I could sell that at 100. And I thought, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's fine, because it won't be that far apart, and that would be a long winner. The winner won, I think, by 17 lengths, and it was Monmouth at 100 to 1. So my bet, I lost 1,600 points on one bet. That's why I don't like multiple bets. I think that one haunts me a bit. But you can get it that wrong. On the other hand, you could have got it that right. You could have bought that bet at 105 and made up 1,500 times your stake. You know,
Okay.
if you bought it.
So we're talking these potentially catastrophic losses and magnificent wins. So what sort of stakes do you play to?
At the right, okay. So when I was in full betting mode, which was a couple of years back, which was a year or so back before I retired, so I had some other money coming in, which cushioned things a bit. I was on about probably it will work out over the whole day, £30 a length on National Hunt, £50 a length on flat, and probably £20 a point on SPs. So now it is less than that. I mean, now I'm down to single figure bet. I'm down to probably £15 on the flat per length, sort of £7 or £8 National Hunt, and about 6 or 7, 5 or 6 flat. You know, and you still make money on that. To clear out on those stakes, I took about £3 in January.
Okay, so I'm assuming that the bugbear that successful punters on the fixed odds have got, i.e., being restricted, doesn't affect you on spread betting because it's a financial market and they're happy for people to win.
Oh, I am restricted. Oh, I am restricted. Yeah, because they don't. Seriously, I'm not. Some of the markets I do, as I said, I specialise. If you haven't got a very big market, you can't have me traipsing in with lumpy bets because it's just gonna exaggerate the thing. Also, there's a certain amount with any company that I think the traders have to sort of report back to marketing and accounting, and they have to flag up. I think if they've got bettors on that they are losing with, and they have to account for that. So, you know, the accountants do have a certain amount of control over this. Though, in one respect, spread betting is a little bit better than fixed odd betting is I can actually speak to traders. You can actually speak to a genuine trader. You try doing that at Bet365 or any other betting company. You try and speak to a trader. You won't do it. You can do it. You can do it with spread betting.
Okay, now you talked earlier about you had a bit of a cushion when you were working. So I'm assuming that you still get losing runs doing what you do now. How do you mentally cope with that?
I think what you do with losing runs, the first thing to do is distance yourself from the event. You've got to take a step back. You've got to take a step back from it because otherwise you can get into real trouble if you start trying to chase your losses or you start trying to change things because you think, oh my God, no, something drastic has happened. But I'll talk to you more about a drastic change that happened later on. But you have to look at this and take a step back and breathe and look back over your previous results and say, well, hang on a minute. I'm doing the same thing as I did when I made this much money. I'm doing the same thing. The results have gone against me. So be it. That's what happens. There is a certain amount of luck involved. And I think punters, bettors as a whole, underestimate the amount of luck involved in racing and betting. And they beat themselves up because something went wrong when it was just pure bad luck. Nothing they did, nothing wrong with their selection. Their thought process was absolutely fine. Just basically bad things happen.
Okay. And do you keep, have you got most punters have like a tank which you keep separate for your punting activities?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. You need to have that separate tank, and you need to be looking to see how your bets are related to that separate tank. So that if your tank is running down, the thing you do not do is start increasing your stakes to try and deal with it, because that's the way to the poorhouse very quickly. You need to be thinking about actually rein your stakes back in a bit, build your stake back up again. To put this in proportion, I started off with a bank of £6,000. That's what I started with, betting £1 and £2 bets, and that I built it up and got to there. So yeah, you can do it, but it's hard. It is hard work, and a lot of it is attitude. You've just got to have a really good attitude